Hi, my name is Julianne, and I'm going to be talking about The Inquisition today by Taran Matharu. So I'm not holding the book because I can't find it. It's somewhere around here, but I have the first book. The Inquisition is the sequel to The Novice, which is part of the Summoner series. The Summoner series is, I've heard it be described as Harry Potter meets Lord of the Rings meets Pokemon. And I don't really feel like the series should be considered Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Yes, there is a school for learning kind of about the magic system. I mean, they kind of have magic, but not necessarily. And Lord of the Rings I can see because it's fantasy and there's elves. But I really wouldn't describe it as that. I do agree, though, with the Pokemon statement. Especially the first book, it really kind of has that vibe. Honestly, I kind of would describe it more as like Aragon meets Pokemon. But even then, I just feel like it's its own story. It's fantasy, yes, but it's a very unique story, I guess. Like, yes, it still has elements that are similar to other stories because it's fantasy. Obviously, there's elves and orcs and all that fun stuff. But yet, it's so unique because I don't think I've read a story. I mean, I don't read a lot of fantasy, but I read a lot of urban fantasy, but so I'm not really familiar with, like, epic high fantasy, I guess is what it's called. But I've never really read a fantasy story that has, like, demons portrayed in the way that Taran Matharu writes them. And, I don't know, I've never read a fantasy novel that has, like, the industrial age happening, I guess. Like, I've never read a fantasy novel that's supposed to be epic fantasy that has like muskets. So it's not just swords, and it's really unique and really cool. And so the story is about this kid named Fletcher. In the first book, stuff happens and he ends up going to a school for learning how to be a summoner, and a summoner is someone who can summon demons. And so it's kind of about his story and kind of him going through his like first year at school. And that's the first book, and then something happens at the end and cut to 1 year later, and the Inquisition. The Inquisition takes place 1 year after the first book, by the way, for those who don't know. Overall, I really enjoyed the first book, and overall, I really loved the second book, because it goes in a little bit of a different direction than the first one, because you're at school, and then the second book you kind of get to explore the world more, so that was really fun. And I really loved the Inquisition. It was just so much fun to read. So I highly recommend The Novice and the Inquisition. And apparently there's a prequel that I have not yet read, but I'm gonna get on that. The third book comes out in a few months. I'll put the date here, but I'm so excited for the third book. So that's pretty much like my thoughts that aren't spoilers about the first two books. Basically, I really highly recommend it. You should definitely go read it, and I'm gonna now just jump into spoilers because there's a lot to talk about. A lot. So if you have not yet read it, leave. If you have read it, please stay. Time for spoilers. Alright, so like a professional, I took notes while reading. So the first thing I wrote, Diedrich is a summoner. Didn't see that one coming. Like, Fletcher comes out of his like little prison, there's Diedrich, he's all like, yes, I'm a summoner and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I hate that guy. Okay, first of all, so sad Fletcher's in like prison for like a year. I'm just like, this poor little kid, like he just wanted to go to a school for summoning. He did not ask for this. Okay, he's an orphan. Just let him be happy for once. Why do you people have to be so mean to him? Anyways, so Fletcher, he's in the trial, and he is like found innocent. I was so scared in that one moment because like he's on trial for attempted murder, and I'm just like freaking out. I'm like scared that it's gonna be a guilty verdict, and I'm like, I know Fletcher isn't gonna die because there's a third book, and I don't think he's gonna show up as a ghost, but I was still scared because, you know, he could be guilty and then had to break out of prison or something. I don't know, but turns out he was innocent. It was just such a relief to find out that he was innocent, or like they found him innocent. Obviously he was innocent, but then Rook just has to show up. So then Othello is now also there, and so Othello and Fletcher are put on trial for treason. Yeah, that was not fun, just reading it, because it's like, oh no, what's the verdict gonna be on this? Fletcher got off for attempted murder, but now treason, and it was very stressful to read. But Lovett apparently woke up, like she showed up on her, what's the thing called again? Oh my god. I want to say Griffin Owl, and I'm like, am I even correct? The thing with wings, whatever. Anyways, maybe it was just a griffin. Maybe. For some reason I can't remember these names, I apologize. Okay, so everyone at the beginning was like, oh, it's Lord Faversham, that's Fletcher's dad. And they were saying that from the first book. And when I was reading it in the first book, I'm like, no, that's gotta be a red herring. Like, I knew it couldn't be Lord Faversham. Like, it was just like one of those things where everyone's saying one thing and it's just like, you know, there's gotta be a plot twist there. And I was right. I love being right. Fletcher called Burden his dad. So it was a cute moment between Fletcher and Burden, and like getting to see them interact was nice. Yeah, that was like the only time they interacted, right? And then there was a time when he went back to the village, but that's later. But they don't really get a lot of interaction, and hopefully in the third book they kind of get to talk more, you know, all that stuff. One scene that I just found really sad was when oh my god, it was Rook and some other guy. They cut off Othello's beard, and I was just like, oh my god, this poor kid. How old are they anyways? I'm calling them kids. Just this poor kid, poor him, poor Fletcher, just, why is everyone so mean to them? Then Fletcher is sentenced to death. So then the whole Manticore, I remember that from Percy Jackson, but Manticore, right, like stabs Fletcher, and it's like, oh my god, Fletcher's gonna die, but because he like survived, it turned out he's really Lord Relay's son, Relay, that guy, this guy right here, son. Fletcher gets pardoned, and then ends up getting a new demon, so this is interesting. He has now two, and we get to see what it's like to have two demons at the same time. And then it turns out he goes to that whole meeting with the elves and the other people, and then he ends up having to go behind enemy lines. So it was really exciting reading that, because it's like, we're going behind enemy lines, we're gonna see the orcs, this is it, we're getting into the war part. And like the first book was them training, and now they're actually going to help with the war, and it was just really exciting. We also get to see Cress, so new characters here, and it was interesting to see her and her character, and I like how she beat Diedrich at in the final tournament. Thought that was awesome. And what I found interesting is that there's actually plants in the Ether, because we've only heard of demons, so it's kind of interesting to hear that there is actually plants and that they do stuff. And apparently that's foreshadowing for later. There's also the spells that the demons, like that the summoners were able to get, came from the demons themselves, like it's inside them. I thought that was a cool aspect, because I didn't see this whole like spells being inside demons things to, you know, happen. Like, I don't know, it just never crossed my mind, so I just thought it was really cool that that's like a thing. And that's where they got the symbols for the spells from. Also, apparently there's gremlin fighting, so kind of like parallel to dog fighting, I guess. I actually did like a sad face. I like drew that next to that on my paper when taking notes. But then Fletcher like goes back and saves Blue. Honestly, Fletcher is kind of like Percy Jackson or like Seth Harper from Malice by Chris Wooding. Like just this like loyal person who just, when there's trouble, will go back to help save someone, you know, and like he went back for Blue and was like, you know what, this is wrong and I have to go save this gremlin. I don't care what the consequences, I have to save this gremlin, because, you know, it's just the right thing to do. So, I don't know, he's such a good character, he has such a good heart, and he's a badass, and it's just a great combination. So, now, like, when they're on their mission, though, Fletcher and the rest of the gang end up getting attacked by orcs, and they have to fight them off, and then Fletcher, like, goes running off into the forest to kill that one orc, and then, someone tries to kill him, and it's just, like, this question of, who is it? Also, on a related note, I guess, I forgot to mention, like, so, Jeffrey, I almost said, Jeremy, where did that come from? Jeffrey, like, he, like, comes along to join them, and you know, at the beginning I'm like excited because it's like, hey, that kid from the first book. Like at first they said Jeffrey. I'm like, who is Jeffrey? Because he was like not that relative in the first book. So it was like, oh yeah, we get to see more of this character. And then the ending happened, but we'll get there. Anyway, so I was like really excited that Jeffrey came along. But anyways, back to the moment. So Fletcher almost gets killed by possibly Crest. They don't really know what's going on. I had a feeling it wasn't Crest, but then at the same time I was like, but maybe it is. And it was just like, should I trust her? Should I not? It was a lot of like suspense there throughout the story because like, who is trying to kill Fletcher? Like, what is going on? And then you meet the Mother Orc. And is it the Mother? I think it's just Mother Orc. No, the. When we meet her, you finally realize that not all orcs are just evil people, whatever they are. Evil people that just want to kill everyone. You know, like you just have certain orcs that are really bad, and then they take the male orcs and then they kind of brainwash them into becoming bloodthirsty monsters. So you have these orcs that are just trying to live their lives, and then you have the bloodthirsty orcs that just want to raise an army and go attack humans and elves and etc. I'm trying not to say the word interesting because I feel like I say that too much, but it was cool. It's the only word I can think of right now. But it was cool to see more of the orcs because it's like, now you get to see more of the world, and I just love the fact that we're getting more of this world, and I can't wait for the third book to see like how this whole war is going to end and to see just more of what's going to happen. It's interesting to get more insight on the orcs because the first book we never really knew that much about them, so I like that we get more insight into who they are and more into like, I guess, their culture. And then of course the Gremlins and Fletcher and co, they kind of like team up a little bit because the orcs took some of the gremlins, and Fletcher and the rest of the team have to go and kill the Grem Goblins. Is that even what it is? Is it Grem Goblins, or am I just thinking of the thing from Gravity Falls? Like, for some reason I can't quite remember the name. But I just wanted to point out that the albino orc is named Khan, because why not? At least didn't name it Kane, because that would have been just as bad. So many antagonists are named Kane. And then so this assassin person shoots Fletcher in the leg later on in the story. Sorry, I just keep jumping around because that's how I wrote my notes, so I'm just going off of the script. Yeah, so Fletcher gets shot in the leg and the lung, and he gets healed by Elektra's potion. And like, I know that he was gonna survive, but then there was a part of me that was like, but is he gonna survive? Because, I mean, he was dying. He got shot in the lung. Like, I was like, how is he gonna survive? There's just no way. And obviously there was a way, but in the moment I was like, how are you gonna survive? There's just no way. But he's alive, and it was great. It was wonderful. But moving on to the next interesting part of the story, Fletcher and Silva. Why Sylvia? Silva. Fletcher and Silva finally kissed. I mean, I saw that coming. I just felt it. I don't know, is that just me? I just felt that that was going to be a thing. I mean, I thought they were going to get together in the third book. I thought it was going to be like the third book thing. But they kissed and had the feels. It was great. They kind of foreshadowed it a little bit. I don't know, I'm saying they. Taran Matharu, the author, foreshadowed it earlier by like mentioning how humans and elves have gotten together, I think, and like how there was a human and a dwarf that got together. So I was like, not far-fetched that Fletcher and Silva is going to get together, and I was right. I was not right. I was not right about Jeffrey. I thought he was just this innocent little kid. Turns out he's a traitor. So he tried to kill Fletcher. Like, did not see that coming. I was so shocked. Because I was like debating, maybe it's Crest, maybe it's not, maybe it's Diedrich, I don't know. But it's freaking Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Didn't see that one coming. Good job. To be honest, like, Fletcher just straight up murdered Jeffrey, and I was like, I was actually happy about it. It sounds terrible, but I was happy about it. I was like, he needed to die. Like, goodbye, Jeffrey. No one wants you here anymore. And so now they're trapped in this like room. The walls or like the ceiling fall down, right? So like they're kind of trapped in this hallway. Oh yeah, and then Silva's demon got killed. That was sad. I'm sure that there's going to be tension between Fletcher and Silva. You know, they have feelings for each other, but now Silva's mad at Fletcher because she needs a scapegoat for the fact that her demon got killed. Anyways, so they're there, and this whole time they have the flower? It's a flower, right? The plant. And the whole time I'm like, that's how they go through the other. Like, I just knew it, because they all ate the orcs ate the plant before going into the other, so I'm like, that's the thing that makes you be able to go through it. And so they're all standing around like, okay, we need to go through this. We need to get out of here. I'm like, just create a portal to the other and take the plant. Just do it. So I was just like I was just waiting for them to finally like realize like plant equals they can go into the other. And they finally do, and so they step through, and I was like, yes, we finally get to see the other. But it's like the last page, and I was like, now the third book's all about them going to the other, and I just wanted to see it now. Now we have to wait. Maybe it's good that it took me so long to finally read Inquisition. Now I don't have to wait that long for the third book. And I still have the prequel to read. Then it turns out that, I can't remember the other kid, but the other kid who died but he thought he was rescuing his mom, turns out that's not his mom, it's Fletcher's mom. So I'm excited to see this other, to get through it. They're probably gonna have to like kill some demons or something. Like, I don't know, I just feel like they're gonna get attacked, or, you know, something bad's gonna happen in the other probably. So they have to deal with that. This is the finale, so like there's going to be so much stuff going down in the third book. I mean, they have to end this war with the orcs, they have to get out of the other. There's just so much stuff I think is going to happen in the third book, and I am excited. I think the thing I'm most excited about is the other, just because we haven't explored that yet, so I'm excited to see that world. I guess I'm really into world building, apparently. So yeah, those were like my thoughts and feels on the book. It was just so much fun to read. Loved it so much. Fletcher's amazing. Like, just keep kicking ass in the third book. I'm excited. I'm just pumped for this. I probably forgot stuff that I will think about later after I end the video, but pretty much overall that's just like my main thoughts and feels on it. And I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you enjoyed the book, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!